What's going on, Soul Tribe? I salute the divinity in you, and welcome to my channel, Alchemist. Justin here, and bringing a little nugget to add to the Soul Tribe archive. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about Mars in Libra in the eighth house, and this is an interesting one for Mars to be in. Now, when you talk about Mars in traditional astrology was known as the lesser malefic. So Mars can stir up a little trouble sometimes, but Mars is not just always just causing accidents and fighting. Mars is also the thing that energizes us. Mars is the thing that fuels our desires. Mars wants us to really kind of go after what fulfills us in life, to seize the day, to enjoy the day, to go, to feel that thrill, the rush of life. So, Mars is a very important part of our chart, to kind of pay attention to there. And then you have Libra. Libra is ruled by the lovely Venus, and they are the cardinal air sign. They are, active or yang in nature. And I find with Libra, there is a great kind of creative aspect, one with them being the initiator of thought. You think about that. I think there is a very musical component that comes with Libra, really great orators, ones that just have a way with words, and I think really can manipulate words in a way. I think of the law of attraction sometimes when I think of it. I'm just talking about the Libra energy in general, just with them being ruled by Venus, having that attractive nature, really being able to go after what they want, really being creative thinkers, and initiating their ideas, that cardinal energy. So really strong minds I find with Libra too. And seekers of balance, harmony in things, concord. And then you talk about the eighth house, which we're going to need a lot of concord in this house. The eighth house was known in traditional astrology as the idol house. And some of the themes that cover this house are going to be, of course, death. And this is like the fears and anxieties around that, more so just like the idea of mortality. And this also deals with inheritances, and also can deal with just like shared resources. So this could be between assets, between a spouse, between a business partner, between anywhere where it goes from being mine and yours to being ours. That's eighth house stuff. This can also deal with any sort of like debts. This can deal with taxes. This can get into even like lawsuits in things along those lines. Those are just going to be some. It's a very kind of mental house too. There's even an occult side that comes with the eighth house. That since you have those themes of death in there, there is like a mediumship. That can be real spiritual side of the eighth house as well. That always I think warrants some exploration. But when you are working with this placement, some things to consider. You'd have a Pisces rising by whole sign, and you're going to want to look to see where Venus is at, because she's going to be in charge of this house and of your third house, which is going to be of your friends, family, siblings, neighborhood, immediate environment, short-term transportation, things along those lines. And then Mars is going to be in charge of your ninth house, which is the house of like your spirituality, religion, higher knowledge or education. This could be foreign interests, travels, things along those lines. Law is another thing that comes up in this ninth house, things, divination, things like that. And then also your money house, your living, your possessions, how you earn and save, spending habits, fear around all those things. So one thing that I found very curious about this placement, though, that one thing I would talk about with this person, maybe if this resonated, would be that there is a strong kind of legal sense here. And I would think that this would be where maybe you would explore like maybe law, becoming a lawyer or a paralegal, maybe something involved in just like the justice system in general. Maybe you came up in a family where maybe you have someone who works in like maybe as a police officer or maybe as a judge or something along those lines, like having some sort of influence there. I could see that as maybe being something that came up, if that's or if there's not like a real literal translation like that, more so just really kind of questioning what are your beliefs, what are your sense of, what is your sense of justice, because I really think that this Mars could do very well as an advocate. for those where it sees this imbalance. Because the interesting thing about Mars in Libra is that this is where Mars finds itself in detriment. And when a planet's in detriment, it's not that they can't do anything, but it's in its opposite home from Aries. So things are it's in uncharted territory whenever it's in Libra, and the rules are different as opposed to Aries. So it can't just go about being the martial way, being the kind of forceful kind of way, that there needs a bit more tact, a bit more diplomacy when we're working with Libra. But I really think that this person really could be someone who would fight to restore balance and to restore peace, and maybe in either way. That's something to consider. That's going to be where you may find yourself really questioning the beliefs that you have, and again, being mindful of who you're sharing those beliefs with. That's a really big important thing. I could see this Mars maybe getting really fervent and getting caught up in a wrong sort of situation. I'd be mindful too, just with all this kind of legal aspects. And of course, I would just tell this to anybody, but just getting involved in any sort of like shadiness or anything along those lines, just kind of in general there. I think this Mars too would be a really great teacher, something where you're exchanging ideas. And if you're not like in the education system, maybe just sharing your beliefs, going to explore different cultures. And then again, because this eighth house isn't just all about just doom and gloom. It really is about what is the legacy that you're leaving behind? What are you sharing with others? How did you galvanize other people into actions? How did you motivate them with your ideas and of raising that vibration? How do you share your beliefs? And that would be one, I would think, being in an environment where you can exchange different ideas and philosophize, and having those. I think that would be a really healthy thing for you don't have to invest in other people's things. I think that's something for this Mars to be mindful of, is thinking that its beliefs are better than other people's. I know that's something that I would just pay attention to, just to keep an open mind. I think that's a really great thing about Libra, that it has the capacity to hold space for contradicting things, but know that doesn't have to define it. You may find something that you may want, that you can take. You take what resonates with you and you leave the rest. And I think that could be a really, Mars figuring out this territory could again do very well here, but I would be mindful of any sort of like manipulations too, of course, in this. Any sort of, especially, we're talking with Libra here. So any sort of like especially I would think amongst like maybe family members, siblings, maybe there was like some sibling rivalry or something like that, and just arguments amongst the families. I'd be mindful of that, keeping those relationships, not that we're doing things just to appease others, but just trying our best to keep in those healthy relationships, because otherwise I could see where maybe Mars can stir up some troubles with like inheritances and things like that, where money becomes this sort of kind of messy thing. So that's just you're gonna need the whole chart to get a better idea of what that would look like. Everyone, this story translates out differently. Not everyone who has this placement is going to go through that. But those would be. Yeah, but one more thing. I do think that, again, being on that sort of like teacher and sharing aspects, I think, sharing the things that you experience in life and in a way that motivates. So this could be a really great life coach too, but invest in broadening your horizons, expanding your belief system, kind of challenging those things. And yeah, and just be careful about, just mindful about what you take on, the certain ideas, again, what you invest your money in, about get rich quick schemes and things along those lines. If it's too good to be true, get a second opinion, maybe get a third opinion. So just some things to just sort of like meditate on there. But again, those are just some very general things that I would talk about with this placement. But I would love to hear if you have this placement or know someone who's working with this. Down in the description box, or in the description box, you can't do that. In the comment section, you can do that. Tell us about how you've been working with this, how this may have manifested, what may be things you've been doing with this or have experienced with this placement. And then if you want to explore this placement and your chart more thoroughly, more wholly, get a better idea of the tools that you're working with, in the description box, there's a link to get in touch with me. You can email me, and then we can discuss my services and just go from there. And look at that, building relationships. And then if you want to know what's going on with the transits, then you can, on this channel, I release videos every Mercury day. That's on a Wednesday. and I talk about where the celestial bodies are at and how to, what areas to look in your chart and how to work with those energies. And then, we're getting into Aries season, so things are going to be posing your Mars placement here soon, so you may just want to keep that in mind. So, maybe new ideas to come up with your money. Oh, and that's another thing, being mindful about people with opposing views as far as like finances and how they spend their time and things like that. That was another thought that I had with that placement. That may be something that comes up for you, but... And if you want to work with the moon, last thing, then there's a link for my other channel, The Chariot and Friends, where I release videos every time the moon changes signs, and I talk about what phase she's in and then when she's going void of course, and just all those lunar shenanigans. It's a great old time. But until next time, stay mindful out there. Keep raising that vibration through the roof. And I will catch you on the next one. Later.